viewers, this is ETETA from MOROGPRO. My name is CHIKU, GHAINO. I am teaching English in Form 4. Now today, I would like to share with you topic number 3, that is about reading literary works. Today, I want to share with you the subtopic that is analyzing plays. Before we start analyzing the play, let us remind ourselves on the concept of a play. Play, like any other literary works, this kind of work has been arranged in form of dialogue. That means people do speak one after another. Now, let us now go directly to the particular play that I'm going to discuss with you today. The title of the play is The Lion and the Jewel. This play has been written by Wole Soyinka. The setting is Ilujule village in Nigeria, in West Africa. The year of publication is 1963, and the book has been published by the Oxford University Press. Now, before we continue, let us now be aware of the objectives, the intended objectives that you are going to cover maybe at the end of this topic. You students, you are expected to be able to identify and analyze settings, plots, characters and characterization, and identify themes in any literary work. That means you are supposed to be able to describe the setting, that is the place where the work of art has been done, has been acted. Also, there is the plot. Plot has to do with the sequence of events in any literary work. Also, there are characters. These are the people that are being used by the playwright to carry the intended message. And lastly, you are going to identify the themes. The themes here, we are talking of the contents of that work of art. Okay. We have to be aware of the content that we are going to cover in that particular topic. First of all, I am going to describe to you the title, that is The Lion and the Jewel. Also, I will describe the setting, that is a time and place where that work of art has been acted. Also, there is the general summary, that is the overview of that place, of that play. Also, I'm going to give you the summary of the book, the summary of that book according to the acts or according to sessions, because this is a drama. And also, I'm going to describe the characters and how they behave in order to carry the intended message. And lastly, we are going to discuss the form and the content of that particular play. Starting with the title class, starting with the title, dear viewers and the students, the title is The Lion and the Jewel. It's said that this title has been, is symbolic. Let's just refer the word symbolism. When the author or the playwright decided to use symbols, that means he used the objects in order who are being assigned to take the attribute or to carry an abstract idea. Here, referring to our play, that is The Lion and the Jewel. You know for sure that when we are talking of the lion here, we mean an animal. And also the jewel. A direct translation is just a precious stone or a precious metal. Now, coming to our book, that is The Lion and the Jewel. This, I said that this has been used symbolically in such a way that the lion that we know and the jewel that we know have been used differently. In such a way that, let's take an attribute of a lion. Everybody knows a lion. It's such a harsh animal. It's very cruel animal. Such a great animal. Now, this attribute of a lion has been assigned to a person. Now, can you imagine how such person behaves like? How such person looks like? But coming to another part, that is the jewel, we know that it's a precious stone, it's a valuable material that is needed by a lot of people. Now, when saying that these are symbolically used, this jewel and the lion have been using to represent the behavior of some people. Now, class, can you predict a person whether a man or a woman is being referred to as the lion? Is that a man or a woman who is being referred as a lion, taking an attribute or the behavior of that particular animal, being harsh, cruel, very strong, very great? Is that referring to a woman or a man? It's particularly a man. Some of the men behave like this, and they seem to be very strong, very oppressing, very harsh. On the side of the jewel, we said that jewel is something. It has been used symbolically, but this jewel is representing somebody who is looking very attractive. Somebody is very attractive, very kind, very polite, and mostly being admired by many people. Now, students, now viewers, can you predict what kind of a person is being referred as a jewel? It's particularly a woman. Now, you imagine there is a harsh man there being referred as a lion, but aside there is a woman who is very attractive, maybe polite. Now, can you predict the story? A man is there, very harsh, but aside there is a woman, very kind, very attractive. Now, I ask you to predict the story. Okay, let's go on. After that, let us describe the setting of the book. This play is set in Ijule village in Nigeria. It's mostly in part of the West Africa. When we are talking of the setting here, we are referring to two things. We are referring to the time and the place where that particular work of art has been acted, has been done. Here we have said that it is in Nigeria. Now coming to time, it's during the time when there was a penetration of a new culture. That means some people in the society have undergone such Western education. Now, for those who got that chance of undergo Western education, they come back with the changes and they want to adapt that changes to the society. But some members of the society agrees, but others despise them and they still preserving their own culture. Now, that situation led to the conflict between the traditionalist and the modernist. Now, after that, let us go and see the general summary here. We want to know the overview or what the play is all about. It's very in a short summary, it's a very brief summary. We can say that The Lion and the Jewel describes the life of the Nigerians after the introduction of the Western culture. It talks about the clashes or the conflict between the modernist and the traditionalist. I have said that after the coming or after the intrusion of this new culture, some members of the society accepted and decided to change. But some of them keep on insisting on preserving their own culture. Now, in that situation, there arises a clash, there arises a conflict, and society has been divided into two, where there are modernists as well as the traditionalists. The modernists here in that particular play, are being, let me start with the modernists. In that particular play are being represented by a school teacher known as Lakunle. That man is a school teacher, that means he has got the chance of attending Western education. Now, after coming back to the village, he wants most of the society to adapt that changes, because himself he ignores some elements of the traditional culture, including the payment of the bride price. As we are going to see him, this Mr. Lakule was needed to marry a beautiful girl that is city, but he rejected such elements of paying the bride price. Also, the society has another group that is the traditionalist. Apart from the modernist, we have the traditionalist. What are these traditionalists? From that book, they are being represented by the chief of the village, Mr. Baroka. He is a village leader, and he keeps on discouraging the changes in the society, something that has been rejected by the modernists. He is preserving the elements of the traditional culture, including wearing style and payment of the bride price. In this pledge, Baroka is labeled as the lion. He is the one who is being labeled as the lion. Referring the first point that I was describing the lion, we said that is something that is very cruel. This man has been given that attribute of a lion because he's a polygamist, has many wives, but still needed to get more wives. As we are going to see that he's always struggling to get a beautiful and virgin girl like Sidi. The one, that girl that Mr. Baroka is interested to marry is already approached, is already proposed by that school teacher, Mr. Lakunle. But the man who having 3 wives, but he is making sure that he got that particular girl. So we can say that Baroka is labeled as a lion because he's always making sure that he gets each and everything that he needs. Now, in making sure that he got that particular girl, he employed different tricks by being helped by his elder wife, CHIKU. He employed these tricks to make sure that he catch the girl. On the other side, Sidi, that is a virgin and beautiful girl, is the one being labeled as a jewel. We have said earlier that there is a lion being referred as the village chairperson, the village leader, who is very poor, but another side, we are referring a jewel as the very beautiful girl. And for that matter here, we are talking of the girl Sidi. This Sidi is a very beautiful girl, she's very young, still virgin. And she's being called as the belle of the village. He is admired by this modernist that is Mr. Lakule to be his wife, but the man do not rejected that situation of that he rejected payment of the bride price. Now, this girl, after rejecting, when Mr. Lakule rejects or refuses to pay the bride price, the girl was being taken by that particular girl is being admired by Chief Baroka by employing different tricks. At the end of the day, that girl fall under Baroka's trap, and thereafter become his 4th wife. That is all about the general summary. Okay, now I'm going to give you the summary of the acts. This play is divided into 3 acts or into 3 sections. We have the morning section, we have the noon session, and also we have the night session. Now, starting with the morning session, you see the picture of a beautiful girl is what we are referring as CD. As you see, she's very beautiful and she's being admired by two suitors, that is Mr. Lakunle and Mr. Baroka. So what happened in the morning session? Let's go together. In this section of the play, it is set at the edge of the market situated at the village center, that is a place where this activity takes place. We see that beautiful girl, that is Sadie, carrying a pail of water on her head, as you see the picture. This is Sadie, she's carrying a pail of water on her head. This girl met Mr. Lakunle, that's the school teacher, who wants to marry her, but the man has refused to pay the bride price. Now, Mr. Lakunle, since she knows Sidi, she keeps on telling Sidi a lot of things, including rejecting, including ignoring that situation of paying the bride price. He considers it as buying a woman. Paying a lot of money as a bride is like buying a woman. So women, for that matter, women are being taken. They are being considered as the product, as the commodities that are to be owned by many forever. Something that is very much rejected by this modernist, including Mr. Lakunle. He is in need of a girl, he is needed to marry Sidi, but he rejected the payment of the bride price. A morning session still continue. After talking to Sidi, this Mr. Lakunle is preaching changes to other people that men have to stop that habit of paying the bride price. But still in the same section, in the morning section, there appears Mr. Baroka, the village leader. He wants to seize Lakunle for stealing the virgin girl. We have been told that, we have seen that this virgin girl was being proposed by Mr. Lakunle, a school teacher, but at the same time, Chief Baroka, a polygamist having 3 wives, also is interested to marry such a girl. Now, she has been introduced in this particular section. What happened? Mr. Lakunle is always opposing Baroka for being a traditionalist. Some people have undergone Western changes, they think that they know each and everything. Now, when this Mr. Lakunle come back, he keep on opposing Mr. Baroka by blaming him that he has banned some of the development projects, and that is true. This man, for the purpose, just for the sake of making sure that all elements of the traditional culture are being preserved, the village chairperson, the village leader, has banned, has rejected the project of establishment of a railway in his village. Now, Baroka, Lakunle is keep on lamenting for that habit. That's not a good person. Now, when they meet in that particular person in this section, we have seen the conflict between these two people. There is a modernist and a traditionalist. So when they come together, there is a conflict. These people are in conflict just because one is preserving and another one is challenging. Now, that is all about the morning session. Let's go on with the noon session, the noon act, the act that appeared, that was conducted at during afternoon. What happened in this section? The section is set at the road by the market, where we have seen Lakunle helping Sidi to kill a bundle of firewood. In the morning session, we have seen Sidi carrying a pail of water, but here that woman is carrying is being helped by Mr. Lakunle to carry a bundle of firewood, which she went to collect. Now Lakunle is still like helping that girl. Thereafter appeared Sadiku. At the same time, when Lakunle is taking a bundle of firewood from Lakunle, we have seen Sadiku. Sadiku, we can say that this is the eldest wife of Chief Baroka. Chief Baroka has 3 wives. The first one is what we are referring as Sadiku. She appears in that, at that moment. Now, what happened with Sadiku? This wife is trying to deliver the message. See, she has been sent by Mr. Baroka to approach, to propose Sidi, telling her that Baroka is intending to marry Sidi. Now, delivering that message, Sidi rejected that proposal. This girl rejected the proposal of being married by the chief. That is the very, it's an old person of about 60 years. Now, the girl rejected such proposal. What is the reason behind? She said that she learned a lot from Mr. Lakunle, remembering that Mr. Lakunle is a school teacher, the one who has undergone such Western education and being referred as a modernist, has been polluting this girl by ignoring those elements of the Western culture. Now, when when the girl received that message of being proposed by Mr. Baroka, she rejected by saying that she's already learned a lot of things from Mr. Lakunle. Now, she cannot be married to such an old man, a polygamist one. She rejected that proposal. Now we see Sidi, that is the eldest wife of Mr. Baroka, being convincing Sidi by inviting that you have to visit Mr. Baroka, you have to visit the bear, you have to visit the leader, that just to have supper with him. This Sadiku is just employing some tricks, in just convincing that girl, even though you have rejected the proposal, even though you don't want to be married to that man, but at least you can just visit the man and having a supper. But Sidi realizes what happened there. She said that whenever a person go there, whenever a woman go to get supper with the chief, she must be married by the chief, otherwise she has to be his concubines. Now Sidi rejected, said that the girl has escaped from that trap. Still in this section, we have seen that Baroka is using youngest wife, that is Elatu, who has been seen cutting hair under the armpits, something he enjoys very much. This man has a tendency of using women so that they can give him pleasure. As we have seen this, she's been recognized by the chief as his favorite wife, a very beautiful wife, being cutting her husband in the air under his armpit. And this thing makes the chief to enjoy very much. Now, from that point we get the theme that this chief is using women as tools for pleasure. At the same time, when the woman is still cutting hair for her husband, at the same time she received the message, the bad news. We have been told that Sadiku, the eldest wife, was sent by Mr. Baroka to deliver the message that the chief is intending to marry Sidi. Even though Sidi rejected, now at that time is where Sadiku was coming back and giving the feedback to the chief. She said that Sidi has rejected your proposal, and it's not usual for a big man, for a respected man like him, the chief, for his proposal to be rejected. It's not usual for such a thing to happen. The chief gets very angry after realizing that his proposal has been rejected. Now, he tries to employ another trick that will make that girl to fall under his trap. He decided to employ another trick that was not even known by his wife. Even Sadiku did not recognize that trick. He acted to be important. That means he is no longer sexually active. So even if Sidi gets there, Mr. Baroka cannot do anything because he is no longer sexually powerful. So Sidi has to worry not when going there. As you see, this section, the man is still getting pleasure from his favorite wife, that is Ailatu, the third wife. And he said that he enjoyed very much that habit of being cut his hair by a woman. Now, at that particular time is where the man received a bad news from his eldest wife that your proposal of getting another woman has been rejected. The chief becomes very angry. Let's go to another session. Now, some mistake here. This is the night session. It's a night session. This one, the end of the noon session, but from here, is where night session starts. This takes place at the village center. At that time, Siri is seen talking at the schoolroom window, looking at her pictures from Mr. Lakunle. Now, at the same time appears a woman carrying a carved picture of Mr. Baroka, who is being naked. A woman that is Sadiku, the eldest wife of Mr. Baroka, appears in that context, appears in that environment, having carried a carved figure of Mr. Baroka being naked. When Sidi sees that, she realizes that Sadiku is going to tell her that Mr. Baroka is important. That means the man is no longer sexually active. This woman, Sidi, was amused with such a habit, but after realizing that, Sadiku realized that when Sidi amused with such a habit of looking at that carved picture of Mr. Baroka, Sadiku tried to employ another trick of saying that, you Sidi, do not get angry. I want to tell you that by coming with that carved picture of Mr. Baroka, I want to tell you that you have won. Just because you rejected the proposal, and the chief, who is very strong, who is very oppressive, is no longer sexually active. So you have the winner. By saying so, Sidi decided to visit Mr. Baroka because she knows that this man is no longer sexually active, without recognizing the trick that the man is acting, that is cannot do anything with a woman. But that is the act, that is the trick, which was not recognized even by the eldest wife. Now even Sidi fall under that trap. Sidi fall under that trap. Thereafter, after realizing that the man cannot do anything with the woman, they congratulated themselves, Sidi and this Sadiku. They were very happy after realizing that the man cannot do anything with the woman. Now, they congratulated each other. After that, Sidi accepted the invitation. She was being told that you just go there. so that you can get the supper with the chief, even though you don't want to get married. You just go there. But the CD rejected. Now, after recognizing that the man is no longer sexually powerful, this woman decided, accepted that invitation, and she decided to visit Mr. Baroka, although she was warned by Mr. Akunle. Mr. Akunle warned that girl and said that you have to be very much careful. Might be it could be a trick. Do not go there. But CD decided to go there, but her intention is just to go and mock that man. She goes there so that she can witness if the chief is true that he's no longer sexually powerful. Now, we have seen CD entering at Baroka's palace. In this section is where CD decided to go there. We have seen her going to the Chief Baroka's palace. There she discovers something different. She found that the man is no longer important. Thereafter, she slept with her. And that's the end of the story. That means now CD is preparing to be, after sleeping with the chief, she is now preparing to get married to that man. If you sleep with the man, according to the Nigerian culture, if you sleep with the man, he's the one who should be, you have to get married to. So after sleeping with that Mr. Baroka, CD must go there and decided to get married to Mr. Baroka. After that, instead of claiming, CD then come back and appreciate the service of having sex with that man. Said that the man, even though he's above 60, but he is still sexually active. That is what happened when CD go there and sleep with Mr. Baroka. CD is now preparing to marry Mr. Baroka, and she says bye-bye to Mr. Akunle, who has been waiting for her approval to marry him. That is the end of my session today. Thank you very much for watching. May I take this opportunity to invite you to the next session. I am going to describe to you the form and the content of that message. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.